What's going on, everybody? This is Ken Posick, the Orlando Real Live. Tonight, we're going to talk about three things: real estate, theme parks, and living in Orlando. Things that I'm passionate about. We're going to go through news stories and make you the best informed audience that there is if you're interested in anything real estate or Orlando. Tonight, I've got a special guest, Kristen Pavlik. What's going on?
Hello, hello.
Good to see you. KP Squared.
KP Squared.
Going on it. And so the first thing we like to do every single week is ask you guys, where are you guys watching from? Because we want to curate our content. Are you guys locals? Are we going to do more news stories about local stuff? Are we talking about travel and tourism and that sort of thing? And so let us know down below, where are you guys watching from? We want to know, are you hanging out in our own hometown here? We got checking in first and foremost, checking in from Florida instead of Michigan. Shout out to Riley on our team.
Oh, yeah.
Been here just over a week. Congratulations. Riley just won an award today.
She did.
30 under or 35 under 35.
Under 35.
So darn cool. We got 3 people on our team that won, which is like a big honor. And wait,
huge.
You and I are former
35 under 35.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just gonna get everybody on the team on there at one point, right?
I think so. I'm now like an elder. I'm an elder statesman. I can't actually get the award anymore. But anyways, let's get back to where you guys are watching from. Susan from Kissimmee, good to see you. We've got people watching from Altamont Springs. Good to see you. We got people watching Capstone from Alabama. Appreciate it. We got one from Lima, Peru.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
I kind of
really
love that.
Awesome.
We got Tulo. Did I say that right?
Tulio.
Checking in from Connecticut. Heck yeah, that's awesome. We got Nima checking in from Virginia.
Hello, Nima.
We got a lot of people checking in tonight. This is very, very cool. Well, we got a really good show for you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about foreclosures. We're going to talk about real estate and theme parks, as I mentioned. And we got a packed show. But what we always want to do is make sure that we encourage you to ask questions down below, because that's one of our favorite things, is to interact with you live. If you're watching or listening to the podcast back next week, you're going to have to come watch us live over on YouTube from time to time.
Come hang out.
Come hang out. Yeah, for sure. So we got other people watching in. Ollie checking in from Cape Canaveral, checking in Frank from Jacksonville. A lot of good people hanging out.
I love the diversity of all these locations.
Yeah, we got Hi-Ho from Claremont, so super local. And then we've got other people, D from Cape May, New Jersey.
Wonderful.
I love it. All right. Miss Kristen, let's talk about foreclosures. So we get this question, I would say, at least 100 times a week.
At least. Minimum.
Where people are asking, hey, I really want to move to Florida, and I think that the market is turning, and so I really want to buy a foreclosure.
And they want the laundry list of foreclosures that are for sure available.
The abundant amount of foreclosures that may be out there. And how do we respond to those typically?
We tell them that is a little bit of a pipe dream right now, because there are not a lot of foreclosures.
This is true. And now you and I, we know this because we are in this day in and day out. And I want our audience to know, like, we're not just pulling this out of anywhere. And so let's show them actually where this is actually coming from. So this is actually our MLS that we're showing you on screen. If you're listening back, we're kind of just going through the back end. We're going to show you how us as realtors can actually look for stuff. We look over at like the special sales provision and we say, okay, let's look at what's going on with bank-owned, REO, government-owned, active on the market. And then I pull the 5-county area for Orlando. We look at Lake Orange,
Osceola, Polk,
Seminole counties. And how many listings are there currently that are foreclosed in the 5-county area right now?
Currently, there are 49 matches.
49 matches. And so if that's the case, like, what do we think? When I look at, like, is that a lot or a little? Because if you don't do this day in and day out, maybe you don't know.
Right.
That's okay. Right. Is that a lot or little?
That is a very small amount. And we're going to tell you exactly how small that is.
So what I can do is actually dial in and say, okay, if this is the case, how many homes actually sold in this 5-county area over the past 365 days that were actually foreclosures? So that was 264.
Over 365 days.
Yeah.
In 5 counties.
In 5 counties. Now, if we go back and figure out, well, how many homes are actually selling in a week? Right now, you can see pending right now, 1,187 sold over the past week. So that's like 67,000 homes that are selling in our area. If you divide the 264 into that big number, it's like
less than half
of a percent. Yeah, it's a very, very small number.
And we already have, low inventory available in terms of all homes that are an option for you to take a look and purchase. So if you just want to narrow it down to foreclosures, you're really, there's nothing there to look at. You're really limiting yourself. And they're all in dire need of work.
Yeah, that's the thing is like there's plenty of new construction that you can move into, not have to do anything instead of foreclosures, which many of them, because there's so much of a high demand for these foreclosures, many times they have multiple offers. You end up possibly overpaying.
Right. In cash.
Yeah. And then you're having to sign this big addendum that the bank puts together that says, hey, you're buying this as is, whereas then you can't come back after us because we don't know anything about the house. And so if you move forward and buy this,
it's really risky. It's really risky.
It is. And I still flip houses and we love buying stuff off market, and there's definitely opportunity. But right now, because there's such a small number, it's not as a big of an opportunity as some people might ask.
Right. And we can talk about why are there not a lot of foreclosures when we know that there was a recession previously in 2008, 2009, and there was a ton of foreclosures. I mean, if you weren't doing foreclosures, you weren't in real estate, really.
Yeah. At one time in 2008, 2009, 40% of all sales were actually a foreclosed home that a bank owned. And so when you look at right now, with it being a half of 1%, one half of 1%, even actually lower than that,
right,
compared to 40%, we are just in a very, very different market.
Right. And it's because homeowners have equity in their home. So rather than foreclosing on it, they will just sell the home and really profit.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that. So we did I kind of looked through a few different websites, and what's the average right now? This is actually last year. The number's probably higher at this point. What's the average equity in the US homes right now?
185,000.
That's a big number.
That's a huge number.
In fact, there's actually the largest number of paid off homes. It's like huge. And then it's like 30% of all homes right now are paid off, which kind of shocked me when I read this. But seeing that people have so much equity, they're not going to just let it go back to the bank when they can just pop it on the market, get it sold in a month or two, and take that money and run.
Absolutely. And that's what we're seeing. Yeah. So that's why it's less than 0.5% of all homes sold.
Right. So if you're thinking about getting a great deal, like this is our job, is to hopefully find you a home in your area for your price point that you like. And we're going to get the best deal possible. But what's the whole thing about buying a home? Like, when's the best time to buy a house?
When you need to buy a house.
When you need to buy a house, right? 100%. And so the best time to buy was 5 years ago. And the second best, maybe 10, 15 years ago. The third best would be
when you need to buy a house.
Yeah.
Right.
So Frank has a really good question, though. The statement depends on the county that you're in, though, Ken and Kristen. Does your MLS take into account list pendants filed? So basically foreclosures that are coming. This doesn't. This is actually homes that are currently on the market. And so if you go in there, Frank, going back through how many, I went through the specific number of how many foreclosures were actually filed last week and compared that to the month before. And we had like 6 extra homes this month compared to last month. So from a percentage basis, it actually is still a really, really low number. And so, yeah, I don't see this massive like crash foreclosure kind of coming based on the numbers that we've got. Going back over to the, so this is like, we're dividing our show up. Usually we talk about real estate towards the end, but we put it towards the beginning because it's just something that people ask of quite a bit. But going back to how many homes actually are listed and currently sold, this is another number to pick out here. There was 1,000 new homes that were listed over the past week. We're finally getting into spring season. Yes. I'm very excited to get a little bit more inventory. And then we had 1,187 go pending. So there's still more homes going pending.
Yeah, than are actually coming available. So inventory is still very tight, but at least we're starting to see an influx of the homes that are coming available, because what was in like the 900s the week before?
Yeah. Yeah. And so hopefully we start seeing a little bit more opportunity for our buyers. I know new construction, there are some builders that are starting to build spec homes again, which is a good opportunity. If many of them pulled back last year, they're freaking out.
Yeah. I mean, many of them didn't even build models.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they couldn't because they're selling them so fast. And then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, now we're opening new neighborhoods. The market's slowing down. Should we be doing anything right now?
Incentives for everyone.
Incentives for everyone. Kim's checking in from Margaritaville. We so appreciate you checking in. Tuesday is checking in from Montgomery, Alabama,
aka the Gump.
The Gump. Is that what they call it?
I have no idea. Apparently,
that's
Tuesday
so funny.
Is calling it that.
All right, let's keep talking a little bit more about a big number. Let's move into our section of the day, which is more like the theme park / tourism portion of our show today. Now,
oh, I love this.
This is exciting. So Orlando announces 74 million visitors in 2022, ranking #1 U.S. travel destination. Kristen, does this surprise you?
That's amazing. Okay, so #1 U.S. travel destination. So we beat New York.
Well, now I don't know. Let's check see. So New York. I mean, it says #1.
It says #1.
Tourists in 22, 56 million.
56 million tourists. Okay.
What others are not a really
What
big
about
one?
Vegas? Did we beat Vegas?
Let's see, tourists in 2022. We had to have beat Vegas. Las Vegas tourists in 2022.
I mean, Vegas is they have a lot to offer. I'm not saying that we don't. I'm just
There we
curious.
go. 2022, 38 million. So we had literally double.
We had double than Vegas. That's incredible.
Now,
I'm not surprised.
To quantify some of this, people were asking, so how does this rank towards pre-COVID? So 2019 was a banner year for Orlando. We had the most amount of people visiting us from all over the world. And so we dug into the past sort of numbers. And if you look at 2019, we actually, there was 75 million, which means we hit like 98% of like the recovered tourism for
From
Orlando
before COVID.
Yeah, which is a huge deal. I mean,
that's mega.
Tourism here obviously stopped the brakes, especially international.
Right.
And so one of the things that Visit Orlando put out in their news release, which was kind of an interesting sort of breakdown of where people were traveling from and where were we kind of seeing a lot of people.
Well, Canada is a big place that we get a lot of tourism from. The UK. We definitely get a lot of Mexico, Colombia, Brazil.
Brazil was a big number. That's starting to recover, which is really cool. And they said 61 million of people visit us for leisure and almost 8 million for business, which is really cool to see.
Yeah,
like
it grew.
Yeah, it definitely grew because I think like conventions, you think about how much money people spend on conventions.
Right.
And many times they were canceling them because of COVID. You couldn't get you couldn't
have a lot of people in one space. So
Yeah,
you couldn't have them.
100%. And so it was kind of interesting to see the domestic numbers as well starting to pick back up. There's a 25% increase in visitors over 2021. So yeah, this is really good for Orlando.
So we're number one. That is the moral of this story. Number one.
We're number one. That's the thumbnail right there. We're number one. And this isn't a surprise. I mean, with the amount of people coming. And it's interesting to see how many with the new parks and the new offerings and the new hotels and everything else coming. I think that this continues to go on.
I hope so. I love it. I love bragging. I'm going to wear a t-shirt that says we're number one. Come visit.
So let's talk about taxes because everybody loves taxes. That's always a good thing,
They're my
right?
favorite thing.
So one of the things that was actually founded recently was a new tourism task force.
The TDT.
The TDT. And so talk about maybe the taxes and how this is actually, how they come up with their money.
Yeah. So it's a 6% tax on hotels, short-term rentals. So any of the infrastructure we have based around tourism. And so they collected, how much was it?
$336 million.
$336 million in these taxes. And what they're actually doing is putting it back into tourism.
Yeah.
Love it.
Go figure. So wait a minute. So there's a tax. And then they actually put it back into the money where that's supposed to go.
Where they pulled it from. Yes.
Oh, what a novel idea.
What a concept.
So I think this is great. Mayor Demings actually went on Spectrum News and talked about kind of, hey, where are we going to do with this money? And that's actually the number one reason why this task force gets together. They say, hey, we raised $336 million. Now what? And so we were checking out the OBJ had a great article on there's 55 groups that were seeking
applicants for this money.
Yeah,
right. So you can apply for it. And I was talking to you earlier, like, can I apply for some to make my monster Halloween house a major tourist attraction?
It is. There's a lot of people that come to your house for Halloween. What is it? Tell the people.
I decorate my house every year for Halloween as a giant monster. So it has eyes, teeth, they're 3D, they're outside. I put out light shows. I mean, fog machines. It's quite a spectacle. When we first moved here, we had 2 trick-or-treaters come to our house. And this last year we had almost 200.
That's awesome.
I know.
Do you put a little bucket to say like, for have people chip in for the following year?
I feel like it's getting to that point.
You should sell tickets.
I should sell tickets.
Or you could get tourism money like some of these other people.
Yes. And so who is asking for this money and what are they proposing?
So there were 55 different applicants that were asking for over of the $336 million. But those 55 applicants equaled almost darn near $4 billion in ask. So that's not enough money to go around.
Right.
So they're going to have to choose. And some of these can be over certain times, but there's a lot of really big ones. $800 million for Florida Citrus Sports and Camping World Stadium. And that's like a whole overhaul that they want to go there. There's $586 million for the Orange County Convention Center. They want to continue their expansion, which this has already been approved, but they want to make sure they can pull out as much money as they can to kind of speed up the process.
Well, wasn't theirs paused during COVID?
It was, yeah. So which is a huge deal. Again, because like we're number one for tourism, but we were like number 2 or 3 for business travel. And so Orlando Convention Center, they wanted to be the number one and make the most, bad to the bone kind of convention center for people come. So they're asking for more money to speed it up. And then we had $256 million for the Amway Center, which is, I think it's doing really well, but they want to stay state of the art. And then
UCF
was asking for money
for the athletic center. Yep, Dr. Phillips, which I'm all for. Can we vote on these? Do we get to vote?
I wish. I mean, I think that what we need to do is be able to get somebody on the committee to decide where this money goes, because we'll see. But I love the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center.
It's so. This is like a personal thing, but John and I had our first date there.
Did you really?
We did.
What'd you guys see?
We saw Phantom of the Opera.
Oh my God, that's so cool. How sad are you that it's not going on in New York anymore?
That is really sad.
Yeah,
but it had its time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was iconic. But it is like an era is ending, so something will fill its place, I hope.
So it's not the Phantom of the Opera, but we went to the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center this past weekend.
What did you see? Something just as sophisticated Phantom?
And highbrow, if you will. It was Bluey.
Oh,
Bluey Live. This is actually a really tough ticket to get originally, and it was amazing. My daughters went crazy for it.
So it's giant puppets, I'm assuming.
There's like people that are controlling it, so you can see the people. It's not like a Disney or like where there's like somebody inside Bluey. They were literally, you could see the people controlling the puppets. And at first I was like, I don't know if I love this. And then the longer it went on, the more like I got sucked in.
Amazing.
If you don't know Bluey on Disney, you got to go watch it. It's like Australian accents.
I've heard it's for parents and kids.
It is.
Right?
It really is. We also saw Steve Martin and Martin Shore 2 weekends ago.
I heard about that. Was that amazing?
They're the best. Like they're an iconic duo. Yeah. And because they're getting in their late 70s or early 80s, they're not going to be around forever. So we needed to go see them. Amazing. But going back over here, so where the money's being spent, Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center potentially, as well as 50 other ones. One of them, and this is Sean over here, my boy Sean, he said, let's talk about the big news of the week. Orlando may be getting an MLB team.
Yes.
That's actually one of the people that we're asking. I mean, these guys are asking for, they're saying it's going to be a $1.7 billion stadium,
and they want $975 million to help with the project
to come from it. And I think that the county will most likely lean towards giving these people the money.
I think because it will pay for itself in the long term.
It will. Yeah. It's not going to be a crutch on the county once it gets going. Now, if you guys haven't heard, basically there's going to be a potential baseball team. Pat Williams, who came up, he was the one who brought the Orlando Magic to Orlando. So the guy's no slouch on bringing sports teams
knows
here.
What he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. He put up the Orlando Dreamers, which I am not a huge fan of the name. You don't care.
You know me.
You love sports.
I love sports. I am like the biggest go sports teams. Where are the peanuts?
Yes.
I want them.
All right. Fair enough. So the Orlando Dreamers, and they started putting out different renderings, and this, the stadium location is actually going to be, potentially would be, if approved, would be right over on like the 528 I-4 interchange. And there's a sliver of land that they're going to stick the stadium on. I drove over there today because I was like, how are they going to fit a stadium and parking?
Where are they going to put parking?
There's a lot of land over there.
Okay.
I was shocked to see, because looking at the renderings, I'm like, there's no freaking way. Parking's going to be a nightmare. Traffic's going to be a nightmare. But apparently they're going to be spending $300 million on the Kirkman.
So just on the infrastructure alone.
Just on the infrastructure. So I think this is a big opportunity. Now, here's the deal. Like, I don't know if anybody watching, if you've been, let us know down below. If you've ever been to a Rays game, Tampa Bay Rays. We have been, and the place is empty. It's wild to see that one of the best teams in baseball doesn't really have a local following. And part of it could be that the ownership group just isn't investing. There's a lot of different things apparently going on down there, but it would be really cool to see them just relocate here. Very similar to how Vegas is now. They've got a hockey team, football team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so people are like, can a local like tourism town, which we just talked about, 74 million people visiting. We're number one. Can one of these cities actually support a baseball team like this? And I think they can. I think
they can. Absolutely. I think it's just another draw to get people. People are already coming here. We know this. We know the numbers. We know we're number one in terms of tourism. What's one other thing to give? Just round us out a little bit more.
Round us out. Yeah. There was an article that came out. They said that we are the largest media market in the country without a baseball team. And so if you're like an Atlanta Braves fan and you're here at Disney and the Braves are playing,
why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you go?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And so the fact that like Vegas is getting crazy record numbers and they're really good with their attendance for their other two teams, I think this is a win.
I think so. I mean, it could go both ways as well. Come see a game, go to Disney.
Yeah, 100%. Sean says, I'm not a fan of the name as Tampa Bay Rays if they relocate, just make the Orlando Devil Rays. Oh, especially being near SeaWorld. That's a great
That's so
name.
good, Sean.
Sean wins the internet tonight. That's a great
That's a
idea.
great
The
name.
Devil Rays.
I love it. If that's what happens, we're gonna put Sean down in the Hall of Fame for that idea.
Sean was the goat. All right, so we're gonna get it. So for sure, ask questions. And here's one, a really good one from Leor Grossman. Says, what are the top areas to buy a short-term rental in the range of $350 to $425?
Oh gosh, we can do a whole TED talk on short-term rentals.
We sure can.
You know, it can be a challenge to make them pencil at that price point just because you're competing against Disney, Universal, all these luxury hotels. The ones that do the best that I've seen are usually 6 or more bedrooms, right? Because you're getting whole families who are staying there, and then that becomes a little bit more economical than getting multiple suites at one of the theme parks or one of the luxury resorts. So,
Yeah.
but they are there, 350 to 425 over in Osceola, you know, Polk counties,
Yep.
Davenport, Kissimmee. So it just depends on what you're looking for and what you want to use it for, but they're there.
There are definitely. I think, yeah, you have to look at potential, depends on what you're looking for. So if you're looking at a single family home, you're gonna have to go a little bit farther out. If you're willing to pay a little bit more on the HOA fee, condos, townhomes, you can definitely still make those work. But
Right.
like Kristen mentioned, getting them to pencil is a little bit tougher because of those higher HOA
Mhm.
fees. For sure.
And
So
you want them to be amenitized because people are coming, they need a pool, they need a splash pad, they're bringing
Yes.
kids. And so you're going to have those HOA fees and things like that that are associated with them.
this is true. This is true. Bo Diaz is checking in from Sunbridge, just moved from San Francisco.
Sunbridge.
That's fantastic. Welcome. Tuesday, going back, asking a question. So if I buy a foreclosed home, do I retain the equity of that foreclosed home? The answer is no. So what happens is, say a house is worth $400,000, but somebody owes 200 on it, and then they allow the bank to take that. Unfortunately, the bank's going to say, thank you for the equity. We're going to list it for 400 and they'll pocket the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's really no like amazing opportunity there
Unless
once
you're
it
the
hits the
bank.
market. Unless you're the bank. Now you can actually go down to the courthouse steps, and they literally still do this, and you can do an auction. And if you outbid the bank, you could potentially pick up some equity there. That's still a possibility. But you will notice when you go down there, as somebody might be a first timer, there's going to be dozens and dozens of other investors potentially bidding against you.
Mm-hmm. Who are very experienced.
Yeah, exactly. Posick Stadium. Pickles.
Pickles.
Let's go.
I love pickles.
Do you think how much do you think the naming rights would have to be? How much do we have to pay
to become Posick Stadium?
to be Posick Stadium? Yeah.
Gosh, I don't think anything really. They would be happy to be.
Oh,
named.
You think they would just be like, we're honored
We're
that you want to be
honored
here?
that I didn't know that was an option. Orlando Orange Sox.
Orange. You're close. Because of the orange, the red,
Maybe,
I get it.
I don't know.
So Capstone says, I think Orlando will have the same problem as St. Pete. Most people in Orlando are not natives and will continue rooting for whomever their home team was, like the Yankees. You know, that's what I thought, Capstone. And I keep pushing back over to like the Vegas. It kind of feels like a phenomenon how well like the Knights are doing there. And so I don't know. I think there's more and more people that actually live in Orlando that might not be from Orlando, but there's a lot less tourists here compared to some of these big cities as well.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot more people that are moving here, not just buying second homes. They're moving here to like do life here.
Right. Yeah. And I'm an Orlando native, and maybe that's a shameful thing for me to say, but
No,
I
it's
don't
amazing.
currently support the family teams because I'm not really into sports. But if we got like a really cool team and some really cool merch and you get me excited about it, I don't know. I don't care who their name is. I'm there,
You're
right?
there, yeah. Well, so I'm from Detroit originally. I grew up a Tigers baseball and Pistons fan, and then I started going to the Magic games this last year, and I'm a Magic fan.
It's so fun, isn't it?
It's so much fun.
I've been to, and I had a great time at a Magic game.
They get you like here's the cool thing about the Magic. They were not good for a really long time. Last year they started becoming good, but they've now, I think, perfected the art of getting the crowd engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not a huge basketball fan, like there's
activities.
It's constant, constant
it's
stuff.
It's interactive. It's so fun.
All right. So we got other people checking in with the names. This is I love this little thing.
Tuesday.
Check in. Let us know what you think the name should be down in the comments. That's an amazing idea. So Tuesday says the Orlando Shooting Stars or Orlando Rockers.
Maybe. I mean, we have to be careful because there's some, schools and stuff like the Orlando Rockets, I think, is one of the high schools over in East Orlando. So we can't be crossing over into the high school names
Let's
here.
see. Yeah. Is it an MLB team or a high school team? Who knows? David says Orlando Dreamers isn't a terrible name. It could be worse. Like Orlando Beeliners would be terrible. That's also very true. Bison says that most MLB stadiums is about 2.5 million to 10 million. Let me just get my checkbook.
All right. There you go.
We'll
I have that in my back pocket right now.
Round it up. Okay, let's keep going. We got a couple of things. So let's move into more life in Orlando kind of news articles. You found a really cool thing opening up. What do we got here?
Yeah. So, we've talked a lot about like VR. as something that is coming here or is very loved in
Yeah.
our area. And this is really cool. It's called the Verse
Okay.
Orlando. I mean, it looks amazing. Holographic theater, like just really cool entertainment with light shows and VR.
This is very cool. And I think, we talk about AR, VR, people talking about the metaverse and all that kind of stuff. And, that's, it is what it is. But this is very much so like, it's a mix of actual 3D, you're in person and you put the glasses on.
It's very Avatar.
Very Avatar.
Yeah.
I kind of love this. And when you sent this to me, it reminded me, we actually went over to, have you been to the Ripley's Mirror Maze before?
No, tell me about it.
Okay. So we went over there, we shot a video that's coming out in a couple of weeks around there's like $4 billion in development going on along iDrive, not including the stadium and all that kind of stuff. Right. It's quite insane. Right. But it's the most fun. You put these 3D glasses on and then you walk through a maze of mirrors and there's lights everywhere. It's massively confusing. Do you remember, did you ever see like the Weeknd's music video where he's like the blinding lights he's going through? And
is that how you felt?
That's how I felt. I literally bumped into it's a lot of fun. It's $16.
Oh, well worth it.
Well worth it. If you want to upgrade, you can go to Ripley's Believe It or Not, which is right next door with all of the mannequins and all that kind of stuff. I think it's $32. That includes both experiences. I think this is great.
Oh, I'm going to have to check this out.
You should,
so
take
fun.
John.
Seems so fun.
It definitely is. All right. So we got another thing you found. Dino Night. What is this?
Dino Night in Lou Gardens. What child, inner child, wouldn't love to wander around beautiful Lou Gardens and see dinosaurs?
Heck yeah. So are the animatronics or how does this work?
I don't think they're animatronics. I think they're just statues, but we can read a little bit more about it to find out. It's
50 acres in the gardens. Let's see. There's 20 life-size dinosaurs ranging in 14 inches to 33 feet.
Wow. So they're life-size dinosaurs.
Yeah, this is really, really cool.
This is going to be fun.
So $17 for adult and and tickets go on sale. Let's see. $13 for kids, $17 for adults. That's not bad at all.
Why not?
And I think the cool thing, have you spent much time over at Lou Gardens?
I love Lou Gardens.
Especially around Christmas time.
It's so beautiful. They do a lot of, it's not just gardens, right? You think Lou Gardens is just pretty flowers and trees. They do a lot of things like picnics, movies, clearly Dino Night. I mean, it's happening over in Lou Gardens.
It's beautiful. And I don't know, when the sun sets and the lights come on, it's the most magical. You don't feel like you're in Orlando. You've been transported somewhere else.
It is a date night destination.
Ooh, very good. And you're close to Winter Park, Audubon Park. There's a lot of cool stuff around. Get a little food. I like it. All right. So what's going on over at Port Canaveral?
We are getting another cruise line.
Another cruise line. Which one we got?
Princess. We're getting Princess cruises.
Have you been on Princess?
I have not. Have you?
I have actually. We went on, my wife and I, we went on a Princess cruise for our honeymoon, and we didn't realize that it was kind of geared towards
a little older crowd,
maybe a little older demographic. Yeah, a Carnival cruise we had heard was the party ship, and that wasn't our vibe at the time.
Disney's for kids.
Disney for kids. Right? So we're like, oh, Princess sounds like, hey, we want to be like a upper class citizen. Let's try this. So we went, and but this is cool. I mean, seeing Port Canaveral, there's a lot of jobs going on over there, and the fact that there's another cruise line that's going to be bringing more ships will just now make our offerings about being an Orlandonian even more cool.
And where do they go? They go to the Western
Caribbean, yeah. So you got St. Thomas, St. Mart, Grand Turks, Cozumel.
I just love that we're having so many different options, right? So I think that diversity in our tourism is going to be the thing that keeps us forever. And so to have, we can get on a Disney cruise, you can go on a Carnival, you can go on Princess. There's just different ranges and pricing and all of that. I think that's just so exciting to see.
I think it's very, very cool. And it's 45, 50 minutes away. And if you guys have not checked out some of the last minute deals, we've got some friends of ours that go at least once a month on a cruise. Many of the times it's just 3-5 nights. It's insane. You get crazy deals.
Have you heard about those people that retire on cruise ships?
I have. I don't know if I would be able to do that. What about you?
I don't know because in my experience, the many cruises that I've been on, the food is not the most amazing thing, right? So I don't know if I could live with that forever.
Agreed. So some other people checking out. So Shakur asks a good question. So by the end of 2023, how many people do you think will have moved to Orlando? So again, Orlando being Central Florida area, we're getting 1,500 people according to our counties and our census data. 1,500 people are moving here every single week, and so that's 75,000 a year. That's a lot. It's a lot of people. There's literally they're planning for another 2 million people to be here over the next 25 years, and that's the entire Central Florida
area. It's
a
lot of new friends. That's what I think about it. A lot of new friends.
Yeah. Oli says Orlando born.
Wow.
You've seen change
the
stuff.
changes you've seen. Oh, Oli, I could tell you. I try not to do it. I try not to drive. I'm like, that used to be a cow pasture. And like, I try not to do that.
Back in my day, that was a tree over there. Yeah.
But yes, the changes I have seen are just unbelievable. It's mind blowing. And I love it. I love that it continues to do so.
We've only been here for 7 years, and I'm already doing that. When I got here,
Well,
that was a 2-lane road. My kids uphill both ways. Sean asked, random question. So have you heard any word on Disney's going to do with the old NBA experience /Disney Quest building? It seems like a lot of ways to leave empty. I agree. And I'm actually, after the show, I'm going to look and see if there's been any permitting on that one, because that's a really great question. Did you check out, I mean, you're not a basketball fan, so maybe you didn't, but the NBA experience when it was there?
I didn't do the NBA experience, but I did Disney Quest a lot.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you
back in my day?
Were you sad when it was over?
No, I was, it was so great when it first opened, but then it very quickly became antiquated, because we were getting access to so much technology at that time.
Sure.
That it just seemed a little outdated. And what I thought was going to happen is they were just going to continue to revamp it with new technology.
And then they
didn't.
Yeah. It's interesting. We did the NBA experience. I was actually, I was cast as an extra.
Stop.
And so we had to go like 2 a.m. and they let us try everything. And there were a lot of cool interactive games. And I was shocked to see it fail so fast.
Why do you think it failed?
It's when I looked at the marketing that came out, I don't know that I even if I wouldn't have been an extra on set, I don't know that I would have actually understood all the cool stuff that was there.
Well, I had no idea, and I've lived here my whole life, and I'm super plugged into theme parks and what's happening. So the fact that I didn't feel like it was catering to me or was like appealing to me.
I think so. It was a picture like all of the basketball stuff that you have at Dave & Buster's, but done significantly better and way more interactive.
So it was neat.
It was very neat. Like it was like they had some like AR kind of like, there was this one set I remember where they had like 360 cameras and you could shoot and it would analyze your shot. And then like you got to play against yourself and other people up and down the line. It was a lot of fun.
Really neat.
I was shocked to see it close.
Well, something better will come.
So going back, what I think would be cool there. Have you been to the escape rooms at Universal yet?
I love the escape rooms.
Do you?
I love them.
Did you do both of them or just one?
I only did one.
Which one?
The
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Yeah. Back to the Future is what I did.
Which the theming there is like, I think if they did escape rooms,
I want to take my dad to the Back to the Future one because for me, I mean, like I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't into that, right? I mean, I liked it,
sure,
but my dad would die, and so the whole time I was in there, I was like, my dad would love this.
It's a lot of fun, so I think it would be a good spot.
Yeah. So what kind of theming though? Can you?
I mean, they can't do Marvel. I was hoping they would do like you think of like Guardians of the Galaxy Escape or like it has to be something Escape.
Do that? No,
so they could do Star Wars Escape.
They could do Star Wars Escape.
Jonathan says they should bring back Disney Quest.
Really, John?
He misses it. I get it. This is a big deal. All right, we got a couple more stories, then we'll wrap up for tonight. So this one by UCF study shows best areas near Orlando for air quality. What you got here?
This is just really the reason why I found this article and I shared it with you is because I think it's so neat that UCF has grown so much that they're putting out these incredible studies about local things.
Yeah,
right.
They're definitely they're leading in research and they're reading in a lot of cool stuff. But one of the things that this article mentioned, so they took 60 air quality sensors and they put them all around Central Florida and then created a smart map. And I'll actually drop this in the description afterwards, where you can, if you're watching live, you can see they have all of these spread out Orlando and you can actually check the air quality based on the different areas of town.
Yeah. I think that's so cool.
It's very cool.
And UCF did it.
Yeah, right?
Come on. I love that.
So one of the other things, once you sent me this, it's got me thinking about other stories that I've read or thought about recently. And so UCF surpassed 1,000 residence placements during match day in 2023.
Residencies across Florida.
Yeah, exactly. So residencies across Florida, newlyweds who place the same organization and many other UCF medical students who are also personally connected with their specialties. So this is exciting. I mean, when you look at how big UCF is and how many different specialties there are on campus, I think it's amazing what they're doing in Lake Nona and over at their main campus and really just spread out Central Florida.
I know when I was pursuing college after high school, I was, stuck on going to Stetson. I was really part of what I really wanted to do. I was passionate about it. And I never even thought about UCF. I don't know why. It just wasn't even in the forefront of my mind. And I had a chance to go see the facilities, the music facilities that UCF has. unbelievable.
Really?
Just high-tech practice rooms with amazing keyboards. Their theater is fantastic. All the bells and whistles. I mean, I was just like, oh, I went to a private college and it wasn't this nice. This is amazing. I should have thought twice about going to UCF. This
Right.
is phenomenal.
I could have had like way better in-state tuition. It would have been
amazing.
cheaper.
Yeah,
exactly.
I would have been drowning in debt.
So yeah, there's like 65,000 kids, almost 70,000 kids that are going to UCF right now. To see how many actually come here from out of state or from all over Florida and then make Orlando home and then just never leave. We did a whole video on this and we were going around interviewing kids, and it was really cool to see A, their passion, but B, like that they're doing really cool stuff at a higher level.
I love it.
Yeah.
Massive school.
Anything else
Massive.
for the good people of YouTube's?
Anything else? John says that they were also national champs.
So that's what they say.
That's what they say.
John, you and I will have to talk about that. But they're going to be in the Big 12 this year, which is a really big deal. And we're going to continue to get more and more eyeballs on a great school that is UCF.
Wow.
But thanks you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. It does mean a ton. And if there's a bunch of other things that we're doing, we mentioned this in a couple lives ago. If you want to get engaged on sort of like a day-to-day basis, we have a Facebook group. It's facebook.com/Living in Orlando. That's the Living in Orlando is our group. And we're very active in there talking about new stuff coming. And there's really cool about getting other people that live here to chat with one another.
If you want to find some new friends, it's a great way to find people who have very similar interests to you. I mean, it's a great place to see what's happening on a Friday night, what's going on in certain neighborhoods. I mean, it's so active already. It's so fun.
Yeah, I love it very much. So thanks you guys so much.